welcome teammates to the Airmen Helping Airmen podcast. I'm Khalid Wright, the CEO of your Air Force Aid Society, and I have two special guests here with me today. Lieutenant General retired Raymond Mason, who is the CEO of one of our sister relief societies, the Army Emergency Relief, and Chief Master Sergeant, who is still currently serving, Kevin Osby, who is the Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, or AFES as we know it. Many of you probably didn't even know we had a Senior Enlisted Advisor for AFES, but we certainly do. So, gentlemen, welcome to the show. Before we get into the partnership between AFES and our relief societies, particularly Army Emergency Relief and the Air Force Assistance Fund, why don't we take a minute and General Mason and Chief Osby, tell a little bit about yourself. We'll start with you, General Mason.
Sure. Yeah, so I was in the Army for 35 years. I grew up in an Army family. In fact, my dad was an NCO in World War II and then got a battlefield commission. And one of the things he told me was, listen to your NCOs. They'll train you. They'll keep you on the straight and narrow. So it's great to be with two superb non-commissioned officers. I tell people the job I have. I'm actually not a CEO, Khalid. My title is director, but I aspire to be a CEO.
Right.
That just happens to be how we titled it, AER. I've been there, as I said, 4 years. I tell people second best job I ever had in my entire life, which then opens up what was the best job you ever had in your life. And it was leading soldiers at the battalion level in the Great 82nd Airborne Division. Pretty tough to beat that, but this is right there. So I feel very honored and blessed to be part of the Army Emergency Relief team. It's as good as any team I've ever been in my 35 years. And so looking forward to talking to you all and talking about our partnership with AFES and what a magnificent organization it is. And I'll talk a little bit more later on about my personal relationship with AFES. I kind of have a long history with them, but thanks for inviting me, and great to be here.
Yeah, thank you, General Mason, and thank you again for all of for your service and the fantastic support. Since I've been in the seat just since October, I've received several messages and some really important connections from you. So thanks again for your partnership and being such a good teammate. Okay, Chief, over to you.
So I'm Chief Master Sergeant Kevin Osby. My call sign's KO, is what most people call me. Besides, my wife calls me a bunch of different things. But
I'm for dinner.
I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana. I've been in the military for about 23 years. I started off my career in the Marine Corps, if you want to believe that. So I went from the Marine Corps, and then for 4 years active duty. Then I joined the Air Force Reserve. I tell people that I had to learn how to read and write and retake the ASVAB so I can join the Air Force. So it all worked out for me in the end. I've been blessed and fortunate to make it to Chief Master Sergeant, and I've been in this position since August of 2020. I've only been here 6 months, so whatever y'all ask me, just give me some softballs. That's all I ask you. No, it's been an honor and a pleasure to represent Mr. Tom Scholl. He's our CEO. I'm a senior enlisted advisor for this position. Like you said, Khalid, I didn't even know this was the position until about a year ago when I applied for it. So I just appreciate being part of this organization. So far, the people have been magnificent. Like I said, the AFES brand, it's been with me for my whole career. And so it's just a pleasure to be on this side of it so I can help the service members and their families.
Thanks also to you, Kev, for your leadership. I've been watching you over the years as an up-and-coming senior leader in the Air Force, and I know you got a lot of legs left and a lot of great things that you'll continue to do for the Air Force. But right now, the job before you as a senior enlisted advisor of AFES is one that I think you'll enjoy and you'll get to have a lot of fun with. Why don't we begin with Kev? If you could tell us kind of how the relationship between the relief societies and AFES begins and where we are today in that journey. And I know, General Mason, you've been involved with this, like you said, for a while, so you can jump in there as well.
So even before I got to this position, I wasn't really, I'm just used to the year round where someone comes and they're key workers and they do the whole Air Force A Society. So when I got in the seat and we started using the exchange, because my wife, she used Shop My Exchange. When I got this job, she went crazy. Now she's online all the time. And so she was showing me this capability of donating to the Army Emergency Relief or the Air Force Aid Society. But historically, this started in 2017. We first began to just do it around the Army birthday and the Air Force birthday. So there was only two opportunities to actually donate in 2017. In 2018, we added a third donation period around the holidays. So members had three opportunities to donate. But in 2019, we began accepting donations on shopmyexchange.com. And now exchange shoppers can donate all year round. So to me, that was a no-brainer. That seemed like that's a perfect marriage, to be honest with you. We have people that shop. Our shoppers are military members or affiliated with the military in some type of way. And I imagine that they would just love the opportunity to help whenever they could. So that's kind of where it started and where it is now. And like I said, we 2020 our donations went up 900% and it closed out just over $2.2 million. We've come a long way since 2017.
Yeah, a long way indeed. General Mason, anything to add?
Yeah. So first, the term game changer is used a lot, in sports analogies, but this is truly, and Cleeth, I think you would agree, is a game changer to get that kind of $2.2 million in a relatively short amount of time with this partnership. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I grew up in an Army family. My dad did 30 years. Then I did 35. So I always went to the big PX in the sky. I've been going to AFES since I was, probably in a stroller. But officially, in 2010, I became the G4 of the Army, the senior logistician. And as part of that job, I was on the AFES board, and along with the A1, the Air Force personnel officer. And we had a general officer as the commander of AFES, but the decision was made in DOD for a lot of different agencies to convert those over to SES positions, basically. And so we did an interview. We started with over 300 people that wanted to be the CEO of AFES, not surprising. And we whittled that down, and Tom Scholl just rose to the top. And so we selected him. And I tell people one of the best decisions I ever made as the Army G4 was picking Tom Scholl as the CEO of AFES. And we've had relationships ever since. Personal relationships, professional relationship. We talk, quite frequently. So when I came to AER, one of the things I was concerned about was ensuring that soldiers and airmen were fully informed about our capabilities, Khalid, yours and ours. And I called Tom and I said, can you help us get the word out better? Really not thinking so much about donations at that time. And he said, absolutely. We'll use our platforms, both e-commerce, we'll use our brick and mortar stores to advertise, just like they put those signs up about the MWR dividend that AFES provides the Air Force and the Army. Anyway, to make a long story short, Tom said, look, we think we can help you with donations as well. We started, as Chief Osby said, kind of doing these give and get back, donate $5, get $5 off a $20 purchase. Then we expanded to e-commerce. And then the last thing we did this past 2020 was go with the point of sale. And all that was done by the energy and the vision of the team at AFES, with a little bit of, of us mixed into that. But I quite frankly wouldn't have happened without the great leadership team from top to bottom at AFES. So that's how we got here. And it truly is a game changer. No question.
Yeah, I would agree it's a game changer. And I would also agree on the excellent selection of Tom Scholl as the CEO. Like you, General Mason, I spent the last 4 years as a member of the AFES board, along with the Sergeant Major of the Army and the current G4 and the current A1. And so yep. Tom has just been a phenomenal leader. Even allowing me to come out and explore and tour the AFES facilities out in Dallas, I think a couple of years ago. So great partnership. You mentioned point of sale as one of the ways that service members and patrons of AAFES can give. What exactly, when you say point of sale, I just want to make sure all of our listeners understand. Why don't we just, Kevin, if you can just talk about all the different ways that people can give to the AER and Air Force Assistance Fund through shopping at AAFES.
Absolutely. And so if you go to shopmyexchange.com, if you actually type in donation in the search menu there, it'll bring up the AER and the AAFES or Air Force Assistance Fund ability to just select that and put that into your cart and check out. Now, when you're making the purchase on checkout, it'll ask you, do you want to donate to these two organizations? So you can go in there and just, hey, I just want to donate. This is all I want to do. Or I can go buy some stuff, and at the end, it'll ask you, do you want to do that? The point of sale means basically at the cash register. So if you're going into a brick and mortar store and you're using your credit card at the pin pad, once you get ready to check out, it'll ask you, do you want to make a donation to the AER and the AFAS?
Right. Has there been any recent changes, Kevin, and who can shop at the exchange? I know this is something that Jerome Mason, you were probably working on during your time on the board. We were working on it during my time on the board. Where are we in terms of who all can shop both online and in stores at AAFES?
Okay, so we have our normal, we have about 38 million authorized patrons, which you all know is active duty service members, guardsmen, reservists, and military families, retirees. But in Veterans Day 2017, we changed to allow all honorably discharged veterans were granted lifelong online access. So they can go to shopmyexchange.com, and that roughly affects about 15 million folks. Then in January of 2020, all veterans with service-connected disabilities earn in-store shopping privileges. So now, if you have a service-connected disability, you can work with the VA to get access to get on base, and you'll have exchange privileges.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. General Mason, I think in last year, AER received about $1.3 million or so in total donations just from AAFES alone. How has this impacted, the programs that you have and your ability to provide emergency assistance and other great things that you do for your service members?
Yeah, sure, Kayla. So a lot like Air Force Relief, we do loans, zero interest, check static line, zero interest, asset sometimes. And we do grants, which a soldier doesn't have to pay back. And then we also do scholarships. And we are, just like you all, we're 100% funded by donations. We receive no federal money, no state money. It's all from the precious dollars that soldiers, that retired soldiers, that American citizens and corporations donate to us. And, it's everything from a $10 donation up to some of the corporations. But right now, we had a windfall this past year in 2020 from USAA, which donated $5.7 million to AER. It was all about the COVID. But up to that 5.7, what AAFES has been able to generate would be our largest single donor to AER, would be AAFES. And so, Chief Osby, you guys were leading the charge with your team, and that allowed us then to help soldiers, especially in families during this past year that's been so difficult on them with COVID. And the biggest thing we've seen is really loss of spouse pay, where you had a dual income family, and they'd gotten used to having both incomes and their lifestyle and the houses and cars and just their basic living was based on that. And all of a sudden 50% in many cases of their income was gone. And so having to readjust to that. The other piece was there were a lot of quarantine issues that caused some people some challenges. And then certainly we had some folks who lost family members, and we were helping them get home. We were helping with funeral expenses, helping them get over some of the big expenses they experienced with that. And, those are always so difficult to go through. But the dollars that were so generously donated by the patrons at AAFES allowed us directly to assist those people. And by the way, 90 cents of every dollar that's donated to AER goes right back to our soldiers. So only 10 cents of every dollar is used to run AER. That's one of the best, very similar to Air Force Relief. That's one of the best of any nonprofits in the United States. So it's, again, it directly.
Yeah, huge, just like with Army Emergency Relief, a huge impact for us at Air Force Aid Society and for our relief societies in general. One of the things that you may see, our listeners and viewers may see when you're both at the point of sale or when you're shopping online, one of the things you'll notice is that you'll have an option to give to Army Emergency Relief AER, or it actually reads AFAF, the Air Force Assistance Fund, because within our suite of nonprofit organizations within the Air Force, we also have the Air Force Enlisted Village, Blue Skies Over Texas, and the LeMay Foundation. And so your donations actually contribute to all four of the relief societies that represent our United States Air Force. But again, I think our share of the donations just last year alone was up to $850,000, which was about an 800% increase over the previous year. And so what that really says to me is that more people are learning about this, and more people are shopping at the exchange and are willing to provide these charitable donations to help airmen, soldiers, and their families. So overall, this is just a great program.
Oh no, and for me, my previous job, I was at Keesler Air Force Base, and our first sergeants are so locked in on these programs to help our airmen and soldiers. And so I can remember we had unfortunately one of the airmen there at Keesler lost their child in a house fire, and Air Force Aid was the first one. We got the information, we pushed it up, and Air Force Aid was there to help with the funeral expenses and all kind of other things. So it's just for us, in the field, man, these programs are no brainers. Like this is something definitely you want to contribute to.
Hey, Kev, as I mentioned, there was a pretty significant increase last year over the previous year since you started this program. What did AAFES do different last year, and what initiatives do you guys have in the future for this particular program?
Yeah, I just think if you don't know about it, it's a marketing thing. If you don't know about it, then you don't know what to do. So the fact that we are putting it in your face at the point of sale or at your checkout, and you just sometimes you're like, okay, whatever, but then at its core, most people know what those programs do and who they help. So I think just being able to just flash it at every instance has really helped that, going from just doing it a couple times a year, or for us, we did it once a year at on the unit level. I think the more times you put it in people's face, the better outcome.
Yeah. General Mason, you mentioned that you've been going to AAFES since you were in a stroller. For some of our service members who may sometimes opt to go to Target or Walmart or use some other place to shop, what would you say to encourage them, not only for us, not only to provide the opportunity to donate to our charities, but just to support AAFES in general, because most people may or may not know that all of our installations get a huge kickback of sorts, dividend we refer to it as, based on how much we all as service members and veterans and family members shop at AAFES. What would you say to individuals on why they should shop more at AAFES, either online or in the stores?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Tom Shaw would agree. It's all about competition, right? So if you don't have a product that people want at a reasonable price, they're going to go elsewhere. And so AAFES has done a very good job. Think about how challenging it is for AAFES. Most, retail stores kind of focus on a certain age group or a certain, whatever income level. But AAFES has to both meet a private, young 18-year-old private, as well as some old folks like us, right? 60s, and even 70s. So such a broad range of demand. And they do a magnificent job doing that. And so that's the first thing is, and yeah, can you find a deal at a Target or at some other department store? Yes, a specific deal, but overall, you can't beat the entire market, offerings they have there. That's the first thing. But secondly, probably more importantly, is, it's your store, it's your place. Yeah, soldiers and airmen have a say, through the comment pieces they have, through their non-commissioned officers, through their leadership to go and say, this is what we like and this is what we don't like about AAFES. You can't do that at Target. But we just mentioned earlier on that both of you, Kayla, you were on the board. So there is non-commissioned officers, there's commissioned officers, other leaders that are on the board of AAFES, and they're always looking out for the interests, really focused a lot on junior soldiers and airmen, but not exclusively. And then the third thing is the dividend. So like at Fort Bragg, big installation, it's usually somewhere between $400,000 to $600,000 every year in MWR dividends that go right back into sports facilities, other recreational things, and those are dollars that don't come out of the Army budget or the Air Force budget. They come from AAFES, and that goes right back into the quality of life for military folks and their families on installations. And then it's so familiar when you go in there, right? You feel at home. In fact, I'm trying to remember your guys. You have a little saying, a motto about it, but it is our store. It's our home. It's our place for the Army and the Air Force. And so every time I walk into one, I just feel at home. Been doing it a long time. So I think that's why it's so important.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of great reasons to shop at AAFES, to include the range of from 19 to 70-year-old taste that you can sometimes find in your stores.
And that's a lot of taste. I can tell you that. That's a whole lot of taste.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, one of the things that we were working on recently when I was on the AAFES board was an app. That would make it a little bit easier for people to shop online and to get things. I don't think we can quite get to Amazon status, but something that would make it close to the experience that you have when you're shopping online through Amazon. Where are you guys in that process in terms of developing the app?
So we partnered with the Army right now. The Air Force hasn't got on board, but it's an app called the Digital Garrison app. So it's tied into your local facility. It's tied into the alerts and stuff that come across, ad hoc messages that you get when you're at a base. We've kind of partnered with them to put the Shop My Exchange an app to partner with Digital Garrison app. Now we just had a meeting the other day that said the Air Force, we are making good headway with the Air Force to have that ability for our airmen as well. So right now it's with the Army, and we're doing our best to try to market that. Our commanders are behind it, and they're enlisting their soldiers to get on there and utilize it and give us feedback. So we need feedback as much as possible so we can make sure that we're giving the folks what they want.
Yeah, General Mason talked about game changers earlier. I think once we get that app on the street, that'll be a game changer as well in terms of how easy it will be for people to shop at the exchange. If, for example, I know some of our service members don't live on the installation and may choose not to drive back to the installation, particularly on the weekend or something like that, to shop in the exchange. So looking forward to you guys rolling that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any what initiatives do you have on board for 2021 with AER, General Mason?
Sure. One thing I forgot to mention, though, that's so important about AV. So if I can digress a little bit, and Chief Osby can quote you the numbers. But one of the other things that AAFES does is the percent of the workforce at AAFES, the associates and team there, a significant amount of them are family members, military family members, spouses, children that are hired and work at AAFES. And as the military member moves around, the spouse can always get a placement at AAFES. That's another great piece of what AAFES does, and the level of veterans that you hire at AAFES. And then I think the third thing that sometimes we overlook, but when we go to combat, the ammunition's coming in, the food's coming in, the combat, weapons and systems are coming in, and right behind them there's AAFES, in that next wave with their trailers and their capabilities. And we all know in Iraq and Afghanistan, they ended up building brick and mortar capabilities there. They brought a little bit of home to those far-flung places, and it's always a place you could go to. So I think that's important. Probably the biggest thing that we're doing this year, we started this a year ago, is we're fielding a new IT system. And so let me just quickly describe it. So when COVID hit the nation and we all began to, stay at home and people were doing teleworking, we went to an online application process where a soldier could sit in their barracks or at home or whatever, and go online, submit their request for assistance, and then we would do an electronic funds transfer to send the dollars to them. So they wouldn't have to physically come into an AER office. An enhancement on that, so we're fielding a new system. Our old system we've had for about a decade. This new system is really going to be that much faster. It's kind of online on steroids. There'll be a portal where soldiers can go in and they can see all their different their loans that they've had, past loans, the application process, the electronic funds transfer. They can manage their own account, just like most other large organizations do. It's a pretty big investment on our part. It'll also have the capability to not use Social Security numbers, which is really important from a security standpoint. We'll use DoD ID numbers, which isn't as the bad guys aren't trying to get that quite as much, because your Social Security number is tied to all kinds of things, obviously. It has a training capability on it, so a soldier that doesn't really understand AER can go on there and learn about it. So we're excited about that. We will actually go live on 1 February, and that's probably one of the biggest things. The other thing is we've got about 30 categories of assistance of different things we do, but we always tell soldiers, look, even if whatever you're dealing with and you go to our website and you don't see the specific issue you're having, don't worry about that. You still come to AER. That list is just kind of a guidance, but we'll sit down with them and work whatever their problem is. We always say, just ask. So we're going to take a look again at our categories. The COVID things we put in place, and we put in about 8 different programs for COVID. We're going to keep those in place as long as is necessary. We expanded eligibility to Reserve and National Guard that aren't on active duty, whether they're Title 32 or whether they're, training or whatever they happen to be. So we wanted to do the right thing for them. So a number of big things. Every year we do about 70 million in assistance. That usually ends up being about 50 million in zero interest loans, about 10 million in grants, and about 10 million in scholarships. And that's kind of how it averages year to year. So looking forward to, a safer and calmer 2021. We all went through a heck of a lot in 2020, and there's still some tough times ahead. But as a nation and as a people, I know we'll get through it.
Yeah, I agree. Tough times, but I think that's why so many of our service members and their families depend on all 3 of our organizations to come through for them when they need us. Just a couple of things about Air Force Aid Society and some of our ventures for the next year. One really good news story is with the Space Force as a department of as a separate service under the Department of the Air Force, who just celebrated their 1-year anniversary, has been rolled into all of our programs and are a part of our family. So we're looking forward to continuing helping out the Space Force Guardians and their families all throughout the year. And much like you guys, General Mason, we're also getting ready to go through, we're at the beginning stages of our IT upgrade, kind of for the same reasons, to get us into the 21st century, to better use some of the technology that people use, to give us some flexibility with existing technologies like Zelle and PayPal and Cash App and some of those other things from a donor and from a client standpoint. And much like you, we've had several programs dedicated specifically toward COVID relief. Thanks to Lockheed Martin, thanks to USAA, and some of our other corporate donors. One of the things that we specifically rolled out was what we call a virtual schooling grant. And so for anyone who had children that were once in school and now are working from home, we gave out about almost 8,000, maybe a little bit more than 8,000 $250 virtual schooling grants to help with whether it's with internet or laptops or tablets or whatever the need might be. And we've also given out some other COVID related no interest loans. That's part of our program, just like yours. So lots of good things going on. We typically have a pretty large charity ball that we put on every year. We're in the midst of determining, we've kind of made the decision that this will likely be a full virtual event. So we probably won't be gathering folks around big party tables like we have in the past, but nonetheless, it'll be an opportunity. We always have a silent auction with some really neat prizes. And but it's just an opportunity to increase our fundraising so that we can help more airmen, guardians, and their families. So Kevin, what about you? What are you guys doing big in 2021?
So kind of like you guys mentioned on the pandemic side, we really got to focus on providing a safe and sanitized, secure shopping for our customers. So if they do shop with us, we want to make sure that they're not fearful of and to make sure that we're cleaning up everything, making sure that we have options for them. So right now, we're doing curbside pickup, of course, shopping online. Even we're trying to even dabble in the DoorDash space. So delivering food to folks on base. So more to come on that. That's definitely something that we're trying some pilots out there in the field. And so that I think that'll be. I think DoorDash really picked up, or the DoorDash like services really picked up during the pandemic, and we definitely got to get on board with that. We're always trying to figure out how we can be value partners in readiness and resiliency. So we have a BFIT program where we want to make sure that we highlight workout equipment, workout clothes, put those in the right spot so people can walk by and make sure they're doing the right thing. And also, trying to get healthier options on base. I think that's a big thing that the field always asks for. And so we have our vendors that we talk to or we do business with, and we talk to them about giving our force more healthier options.
The field has always asked for them, but the field doesn't always support those healthy options. So,
absolutely.
But I did have one question for you. This is, and I know if many of our, I don't know about soldiers, but many of our airmen were online and had an opportunity to ask a question, they would ask, when are we going to get Chick-fil-A in the food courts?
Yeah, they got a petition. It's a change.org petition out there for Chick-fil-A. But what I always tell airmen is we want to do business with whoever wants to do business with us. So it's not a thing. We're not trying to have Chick-fil-A on base. And I don't know how people can spin Chick-fil-A into a healthy option because it's fried. But it's good though. Like I say, I understand that. So. But yeah, we are willing to do business with whoever's willing to do business with us.
Yeah, got it.
Chick-fil-A has a grilled sandwich. Chief,
yeah,
they do a grilled sandwich.
Well, Popeye's got grilled chicken tenders too, and nobody wants.
Well, the fries are a lot better. You just can't eat it every day, right? Maybe once a month, something like that. You're probably all right.
Well, hey, no doubt that again, all of our organizations are doing some great things. This has been a fantastic partnership thus far, and I'm really looking forward to many more years of an outstanding partnership between AFES, AER, and Air Force Assistance Fund. Which, by the way, the Air Force Assistance Fund campaign starts up on March the 1st and runs through May the 14th. So if you're listening, make sure you take an opportunity to donate to the Air Force Assistance Fund. Any final words, General Mason, before we close out?
Yeah, just one or two. Just like you, our campaign kicks off on 1 March. We always say our campaign is all about information, trying to make sure that every soldier and family member are fully aware of the benefits and programs of AER. Yes, donations will give you an opportunity to donate, but I'm less concerned about that. I'm more concerned about some soldier doesn't know about us and goes out and makes an unwise choice, goes to some predatory lending, some payday lender, and gets taken to the cleaners. That's what concerns me. And that's why the AFES point of sale and the e-commerce also makes both Air Force relief and Army relief top of mind, right? They're reminded of it. Oh yeah, that's right. Don't go out the gate. Don't go to Billy Bob's, lending agency. Come to the relief agencies, zero interest. We're going to give you financial counseling if that's something you think you need, for your future. So that's again, while the program of the point of sale and the e-commerce has generated dollars, but it's also generating soldiers' awareness of what we do, and I think that's in many ways more important. I will give one shout out to Anna Middleton. Anna is actually her title is President and Chief Management Officer, and she's been in the middle of this from the very beginning. And frankly, in many ways, I think she's somewhat the brains behind that. Not that Tom's not the smartest guy walking around, but Anna's got such great passion for this. So, Chief, please pass on my best to Anna and the entire team there. So, appreciate this opportunity again, and Khalid, I can't wait to meet you in person. Hopefully, we get through this. And if you talk to John Hopper, your predecessor, please say hello to John. John and I had a great couple of years traveling around the world doing some fun stuff for our relief agencies, and he's a magnificent leader and great friend. So pass my best to if you talk to him. And I'd love to have I mean, I don't think we weren't able to attend a farewell for him. So if that ever happens, please keep us in the loop.
Okay,
as well.
I sure will. Thanks. Kevin, last words.
So for me, like I said, it's truly an honor to represent this wonderful organization on behalf of Mr. Show, and to partner with your fantastic team. Like I said, I've been on the recipient end and the operational end of what you all do, and we definitely appreciate everything you do for our soldiers and our airmen. Like General Mason said, you know where your money's going when you're shopping with the exchange. So 60% goes back to of our earnings go back to the airmen and soldiers and their families, and then the rest of it comes back to AFES to try to enhance the customer experience. So just know your money is going back to you as a military member. And so like I said, I love the mission. We go where you go. Like General Mason said, when JCPenney and Walmart aren't going to deploy down range to give you Snickers and honey buns. Like it's AFES that's going down range. So we got a lot of awesome people that love the military, that are affiliated with the military, that have been in the military, that work for this organization, and they love serving the service members. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kevin, and thank Mr. Scholl and all the AFES team for the amazing support. I am extremely grateful for the relationship that we all share, mostly because it just allows us to help more service members and their families. And that's kind of why we all exist here. And so I'm, again, looking forward to a prosperous 2021 amongst all of us. And I'm really looking forward to getting to meet you in person, General Mason, and hopefully I'll see you at one of the old chief conferences or something there, Kev. I'm sure we'll get a chance to catch up. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Airmen Helping Airmen podcast. Let me just thank our special guest for this episode, the Lieutenant General retired Raymond Mason, the Director of Army Emergency Relief, and Chief Master Sergeant Kevin Osby, who is the Senior Enlisted Advisor of AFES. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. And again, we look forward to a very prosperous relationship in the future. For those of you who are listening, the next time you're either shopping online at shopmyexchange.com, or if you're in one of the AFES stores, make sure you take an opportunity to donate to the Army Emergency Relief or the Air Force Assistance Fund. We will all appreciate it. Thank you.